Good morning. My name is Susan MacLeod, and I'm president of the Board of Directors of the Diefenbunker, Canada's Cold War Museum. I'd like to welcome you all today to the Diefenbunker. Ça me fait grand plaisir de vous accueillir au Musée Diefenbunker aujourd'hui. I would like to begin by acknowledging that the land on which we gather is the traditional, unceded territory of the Algonquin Anishinaabe people. The Diefenbunker Museum is committed to working to reach the calls to action set out in the Truth and Reconciliation Commission, specifically numbers 67 to 70, related to museums and archives. We are grateful to live, gather, and organize on this land. The Diefenbunker is Canada's most important surviving Cold War artifact. Built 60 years ago to house our Prime Minister and government officials during the event of a nuclear attack, the Diefenbunker was maintained by the military until the end of the Cold War. After it was decommissioned, the site was rescued from demolition by a group of hard-working volunteers who opened the doors to the visiting public in the 1990s. 25 years later, we're proud to say that the Diefenbunker is a one-of-a-kind tourism destination operated by a professional staff that in 2019 welcomed over 70,000 visitors. We are also proud to be a museum of the Cold War, offering a platform for dialogue, inquiry, and learning. But we are also a National Historic Site, and as custodians of this historic site, we are tasked with its preservation. We do this so that future generations can connect tangibly with a key chapter in Canadian and world history, the Cold War. But to preserve this site and make it accessible to visitors, capital investment is required. And on that note, it gives me great pleasure to welcome several government officials to the Diefenbunker today for a special announcement. I would like to welcome the Honourable Catherine McKenna, Minister of Infrastructure and Communities. Welcome, Minister. Karen McCrimmon, Member of Parliament for Kanata Carleton. Welcome. And the Honourable Dr. Mary Lee Fullerton, Minister of Long-Term Care and Member of Provincial Parliament for Kanata Carleton. Welcome. So with that, I would like to invite Karen McCrimmon, Member of Parliament for Kanata Carleton, to deliver introductory remarks.
Okay, that's Thank you. All right. Good morning, everybody. Well, it's a little chilly out there, but it's not too bad in here. So I just wanted to thank Susan for that very kind introduction. And I'm really pleased to be here today and to be part of this announcement in our riding. And I know with people who have worked hard to make this happen. This doesn't happen overnight, and it takes perseverance and dedication to the cause. And I know that the whole team at the Diefenbunker has been working hard to make these things happen. And I'd like to also extend a very warm welcome to Minister Catherine McKenna. Good morning, Catherine. Good to see you. All right. And I've had the tremendous pleasure of working with Catherine on numerous projects for local communities. So I really appreciate you being here today. And I'd also like to extend a warm welcome to our local member of Provincial Parliament, Minister Mary Lee Fullerton, who is Minister of Long-Term Care, and also Christine McGuire, who's the Executive Director of the Diefenbunker Museum, and you've already met Susan. So this is a great start this morning. You know, we've been going through some pretty challenging times lately, but I think it's so important to remember that it's the health of our communities that matter. And I think this is what our government, and I think the provincial government, have worked hard to protect communities and help them to grow and to prosper as we overcome these challenges that are facing us today. And there are a lot of Ontario communities that need our help. And I think this is a perfect time for both the federal government and the provincial government to work together to help communities and to help them grow and to thrive. And the Diefenbunker has done amazing work, kind of in terms of preserving our Cold War heritage and attracting tourists right from around the world. And I know I was here back last year, and we had tourists from Japan and tourists come in from Europe to come and visit this artifact. So I think it's so important that we continue to work together and make a difference. And preserving this kind of artifact, it matters. And telling the story, and I really like the way that the Diefenbunker has been telling our story of the Cold War era and making room for other initiatives that bring people together and kind of forge that collaborative spirit. So to tell you more, it's my immense pleasure to hand the podium over to the Honourable Catherine McKenna, Minister of Infrastructure and Communities. Thank you.
Well, thank you very much, Karen. It's always a pleasure to be making announcements with you that are going to make a real difference for your riding, creating jobs, but also, in this case, really, celebrating an amazing institution. I certainly love the Diefenbunker. I'm very sad I can't be there today. Thank you also to Susan and to Christine McGuire at the Diefenbunker Museum. As I say, I love what you do, a really important historic site. And of course, to Minister Fullerton, thank you for being there and representing the provincial government. It's only by working together do we get to do projects like this. I want to start by acknowledging we're on the traditional territory. Well, I'm on the traditional territory of the Algonquin and Anishinaabe peoples. And look, this has been an extremely challenging time. C'est difficile pour tout le monde, c'est bien sûr, mais il y a de l'espoir. I think we're all feeling quite hopeful, seeing the first vaccines arrive here in Canada, and our government has worked extremely hard to secure the most vaccines of any country in the world. And now we're certainly in the phase of rolling them out. Of course, we all still need to work very hard because we're not there yet. So certainly listening to Dr. Etches and our public health advice. In my role as Minister of Infrastructure and Communities, I've been focused on really making sure that we are able to not only get through the health pandemic, but also the economic crisis we're in. So that means supporting programs that are going to make us more resilient through COVID-19, but also that are going to create jobs. We need jobs, we need economic growth, and that is the opportunity of infrastructure, but it's also building more inclusive and stronger and cleaner communities. We opened up our COVID-19 resilience stream here in Ottawa, here in Canada, and that's a stream where the federal government will pay 80 cents on every single dollar for infrastructure projects, like investments in long-term care homes, like investments in schools. I know the province is going to take advantage of those, and these are projects that will get built quickly that will create good jobs now, while, as I say, making sure we're making a difference in key areas related to COVID-19 infrastructure. We also, stay tuned, have the Canada Healthy Communities Initiative that will have a big impact on allowing local groups, organizations to submit projects that'll support us while we still live through COVID-19. That can be anything from pop-up bike lanes to public Wi-Fi to community gardens. It's really up to communities to decide what they need to survive and thrive for COVID through COVID-19. And there's been a lot of great infrastructure announcements here in Ottawa. We announced investments, $31 million for more affordable housing through the Rapid Housing Initiative, and also Net Zero Ottawa Public Library, which will be a great super library for everyone, including the folks who live in Canada Carleton. But today we're here to talk about the Diefenbunker, Canada's Cold War Museum and National Historic Site. I think it's very appropriate. It's in your riding, Karen. Given that you're a veteran of the Canadian Forces, the first female navigator and first woman to command an Air Force squadron. So it's appropriate that we are celebrating an important part of our history. In this National Historic Site, I was responsible for National Historic Sites in my previous role, and I certainly appreciate the important role the Diefenbunker plays in showcasing a key part of our history. It's also very fun for kids because I have vivid memories of my kids running around everywhere, inside and outside. This announcement, I think, will only just help improve the experience at the Diefenbunker. C'est pourquoi je suis très le soutien du gouvernement du Canada à la revitalisation du Diefenbunker, le musée canadien de la guerre froide et un lieu historique national. Les presque 600 millions de dollars que nous investissons dans la rénovation et la revitalisation du Diefenbunker permettront de garder vivante cette partie importante de notre histoire pour servir la communauté locale ainsi que les visiteurs du Canada et ailleurs. Ce sera une ressource d'apprentissage merveilleuse, accessible, inclusive pour nombreuses de générations à venir. Notre plan d'infrastructure du Canada investit dans des milliers de projets, crée des emplois dans tout le pays et aide à bâtir des communautés plus propres et plus inclusives. I'm extremely proud to announce the Government of Canada's support for the revitalization of Diefenbunker, Canada's Cold War Museum and National Historic Site. The close to $600,000 that we're investing in the renovation and revitalization of the Diefenbunker will keep this important part of our history alive to serve the local community as well as visitors from across Canada and beyond. It will be a wonderful, accessible, and inclusive learning resources for many generations to come. So what about these renovations? They'll improve ventilation, plumbing, electrical, and mechanical systems. 10 washrooms will be upgraded and an accessible washroom will be added, and ramps and a new passenger elevator will be installed, making this museum even more accessible to all visitors. These important upgrades, as I said, will create good jobs at a time when we need jobs. They'll also ensure that the facility is able to accommodate a diverse audience, including people with disabilities, youth at risk, seniors, First Nations, and Indigenous people more broadly, as well as newcomers to Canada. And it really is incredible to that the Diefenbunker for the more than 20 years, it has educated Canadians about the Cold War and how Canada prepared to continue the operations of the government and military in the event of a nuclear attack during the Cold War. That this is an important part of our history. And maybe it's a reminder that we managed to get through a very challenging period in the Cold War and emerge. I think that we will do that with COVID-19, I have no doubt. And I would just add that we need to do that as well when it comes to climate change. We announced our climate plan just last week. I think we need to take the same spirit that we took during the Cold War, but also now to COVID-19, where we're disciplined, where we're focused on the outcome we want and the better future that we want for everyone. And these projects are creating good jobs at a time when we need it. They're building stronger communities and improving the quality of life for folks. And last thing, I just want to say that I really have appreciated how the community has come together during a time of crisis. As the Minister of Infrastructure and Communities, I think I really appreciate how at this time a community really matters. It matters in terms of looking out for each other. It matters in terms of showing that a community is what we make of it, and making sure that we have great institutions like Diefenbunker, that we're investing them for the longer term is really critically important. I'm going to continue to do that, continue to work with great members of Parliament and colleagues like Karen McCribbin so that we can build an even better community for all of the residents of her community, creating jobs, building more inclusive spaces, and of course, building a more cleaner future for all Canadians. Thank you.
And thank you, Minister McKenna. That is just the best news ever. As a nonprofit organization, we are just so very grateful to the Government of Canada for your support. And with that, I would now like to invite the Honourable Mary Lee Fullerton, Minister of Long-Term Care, to deliver remarks on behalf of the Government of Ontario.
Thank you. I've finally grown accustomed to having that other phase between speakers. So, you know, I've grown up in Canada, in this West Carleton area, since the 1960s. And it has been, for many, many years, it was a mystery about what the Diefenbunker was. You know, we all knew it was here, but what was it? And until I had my children in the 1990s, it wasn't open to the public. It wasn't available. And so I think it's just such a wonderful attribute to our community, and to my colleagues and speakers that have come ahead of me today speaking about that sense of community. I think that is so tremendously important, that we also recognize how our communities can be resilient. And so in the face of a challenge, whether it's COVID-19, a challenge that our country, our province, our community has never seen before, but also challenges like the Cold War, and what the Diefenbunker represents for our community in its history. And so we must never forget the challenges that we have gone through as people in our areas in the past, because that's what contributes to resiliency and to our ability to cope and look forward with hope. So I want to emphasize today is a good day. We are here for a wonderful announcement, and the vaccine is coming in as we speak. I saw early morning pictures of that COVID-19 vaccine coming in, so I'm really pleased to see that, and we'll overcome COVID-19 as well. So I really am thrilled to be here on behalf of the Minister of Infrastructure, Provincial Minister of Infrastructure, Laurie Scott, and announce that we're investing over $490,000 in provincial funding for infrastructure improvements here at the Diefenbunker Museum. And I want to mention here how important it is to me that we've been able to collaborate with other levels of government to achieve the support for the Diefenbunker, such an important museum for this area, and I would say across Canada and across the world as well. And Christine can probably address whether there's anything else like this to a significant degree elsewhere, but I think it's really one of a kind. So physically distant, but joined together, we really are celebrating an important piece of Canada's history. It is a marvel of infrastructure engineering, and its 4 levels cover 100,000 square feet. And this is coming piece of information is important because I wish we could build this fast. It was built to withstand a 5 megaton nuclear blast from almost 2 kilometers away, and it was built in less than 18 months. So we know how important it is to be able to respond to community needs. And as Minister of Long-Term Care, I can tell you how diligently we are working to address all the concerns in the long-term care sector and to really create a modern 21st century long-term care sector that will address the needs of our most vulnerable people. So the Diefenbunker is a true evidence of what can be done when the emergency is staring us in the face. And really our courage in the face of adversity is really what brings us together as people. So I praise the members of the Diefenbunker Museum on the changes that you've made to keep visitors, staff, and volunteers safe during these unprecedented times. And because of your hard work, the realities of Cold War in Canada have been kept alive. We must not forget. And I encourage everyone who's living locally or tourists to Ottawa to visit this unique site. Today's investment will ensure that you can continue to keep people safe, contributing to our local economy as well. So it will improve accessibility by adding ramps and modernizing 60-year-old washrooms and adding elevator that will be more consistent with the needs of visitors, staff, and volunteers. It will also improve safety with upgrades to the electrical, mechanical, and ventilation systems. And supporting cultural and recreational infrastructure projects like the one we are celebrating today helps to make our communities stronger and more inclusive. And I think that cultural part is so incredibly important. And I heard it mentioned earlier about inclusion and inclusivity. And this is part of what is a true community, the true heart of a community, when we can bring people together in an inclusive way, remember the past, but have hope for the future. So through the ISIP program, we're investing $30 million in joint infrastructure funding for communities across Ontario over the next 10 years. And this includes $10.2 billion from the provincial government. We are rebuilding the economy and creating healthy and safe communities across Ontario through our federal-provincial partnership. And I would like to thank Christine McGuire, Executive Director of the Diefenbunker Museum, for putting this project forward, and our federal counterparts for their collaboration. Thank you. And for everyone who makes this happen. It wouldn't happen without the people who are pouring their hearts and time and effort into this endeavor. So together, we can continue to make investments like this one possible. So it is a good day. And thank you for all your work and for everyone being here today. Thank you.
And thank you, Minister Fullerton, and thank you to the Government of Ontario. This is indeed a very happy day for the Diefenbunker. And with that, I would like to invite Christine McGuire, Executive Director of the Diefenbunker, to the podium. But first, on behalf of the Board of Directors of the Diefenbunker, I would just like to congratulate Christine and team for the wonderful work you have done. Again, I emphasize we are a nonprofit organization. We earn all of our operating income, and it's through the hard work and tenacity of Christine and her team. They go looking for these grants at the federal level, at the provincial level, at the municipal level, and this is just a double header, and it's just the largest grant that we've ever had, and we are thrilled and delighted because it will enable us to just continue to safeguard this treasure and make it more open and accessible to our visitors. So, Christine.
Good morning, everyone. I am so pleased to be here today to share in this exciting announcement. Right now, we are standing in the entrance of a once top-secret 4-story underground bunker that is the only one of its kind in Canada and arguably in the world. Designed 60 years ago as the Centre for Canada's Emergency Preparedness and Defence Against Nuclear Attack, the museum now stands as a testament to the important role that Canada played during one of the most critical times in recent world history, the Cold War. Now more than ever, this history has a crucial role to play in understanding our past and informing our future. This massive atomic age artifact not only reminds us of a time that we do not want to see repeated, and this just makes our mission more clear, that we want to be a champion of a new form of engagement, one of collaboration, connection, and communication. This funding, which the Diefenbunker Museum will be committing over $400,000 to, will safeguard this National Historic Site, this museum, and Canada's most important surviving Cold War artifact, allowing us to keep our blast doors open and thrive as a visitor-centered, relevant, and vibrant organization. On behalf of the Board of Directors, staff, and volunteers, we are so incredibly grateful to the federal and provincial governments for this important support, especially during these difficult times. Thank you.
All right. Bravo, Christine. And with that, I would like to conclude our press conference. Thank you, everyone, for joining us today, and good morning.